Hi everyone, it is Achia here at Booking It with Achia. Welcome or welcome back. And today we're actually going to discuss the books that I read during February and March, my February March wrap up slash highlights. We're going to start with just listing all the books that I read, what rating I gave them, and then a little bit of the stats from those past 2 months. And then I want to get into the 12 books that were standouts for me during February and March. So, starting with all the books that I read, and I'm going to put them on the screen, or actually in like a graphic that you'll see momentarily. So, we have A Breathless Sky by Veronica G. Henry, which I gave 2.5 stars. Untethered by Angela Jackson Brown, 4.25 stars. Jade War by Fonda Lee, 4.5 stars. The Dark Place by Brittany S. Lewis, 4 stars. Go Tell It on the Mountain, James Baldwin, 4 stars. Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi, which was actually a reread for me, 4.5 stars. Well, That Was Unexpected, Jesse Q. Sutanto, 4 stars. Zachary Ying and the Dragon Emperor by Zirin J. Zhao, 4 stars. Saint Seducing Gold by Brittany Ann Williams, 4 stars. Winnie Zhang Unleashes a Legend by Katie Zhao, 4 stars. Blood of the Old Kings by Sung Il Kim and translated by Anton Her, 4.25 stars. The Shadow Sister by Lily Mead, 4 stars. The Library Game by Gigi Pandian, 4 stars. Losing Sight by Tati Richardson, 4.25 stars. Sky Full of Elephants by Sybil Campbell, 5 stars. The Offer by T.M. Richardson, 4.5 stars. Warrior Girl Unearthed by Angeline Booley, 4.5 stars. I Think They Love You by Julian Winters, 4 stars. 12th Night by Alexine Farrell-Falmouth, 4.5 stars. Well Behaved Indian Women by Samaya Dave, 4 stars. Team Chu and the Epic Hero Quest by Julie C. Dow, 3.75 stars. The Henna War by Adiba Jagadar, 3.75 stars. Food Wars Volumes 32 and 33. Demon Slayer Volume 1. Homie Can't Communicate Volume 32. I DNF'd Guest Star Part 1 by Tiana Baptiste. Then we have Oathbound by Tracy Dion, 5 stars. The Secret World of Maggie Gray by Granger, 4 stars. Not an Easy Win by Crystal D. Giles, 3.75 stars. The Unspoken by Ian K. Smith, 4.25 stars. All My Rage by Saba Tahir, 4.75 stars. Star-Crossed Egg Tarts by Jennifer J. Chow, 4 stars. Winnie Zhang Vanquishes a King by Katie Zhao, 4 stars. How to Marry Keanu Reeves, 2 stars. Nana by Brandon Massey, 4 stars. Momo Aoshima Duels the Queen of Death, 4 stars. Love, Hopes, and Marriage Tropes by Abby L. Van Diver, 4 stars. Hamajang Luck by Makana Yamamoto, 4.5 stars. Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang by Kylie Lee Baker, 3.75 stars. Black Leopard Red Wolf by Marlon James, 4 stars. A Million to One by Adiba Jagadar, 4 stars. Healer of the Water Monster, 4 stars. The Night of the Storm, 3 stars. Bree Boyd is a Legend, 5 stars. The Color Purple by Alice Walker, 5 stars. The Message by Ta-Nehisi Coates, 5 stars. Insomniacs After School Volume 5. Parachutes by Kelly Yang, 5 stars. The Apothecary Diaries Volume 13. And lastly, we have House of Marion by JL, and I gave that 4 stars. Yeah, and that is it in terms of what I finished and also DNF, which is that one book. In terms of stats, and this is going to be the 2 months combined, so February and March. Starting with page count, I read a total of 6,506 pages and listened to 142.82 hours. 10 of the books that I read during those 2 months were ARCs or gifts from publishers and authors. 11 of the books had queer representation, everything had BIPOC representation and was written by a BIPOC author. I read 6 manga. 8 of the books were 2025 new releases. 28 of the books that I read were from my local library. 7 of them came from my owned backlist TBR, which is pretty cool. 17 of the books that I read were from my February hopefuls list, and 18 of them were from my March hopefuls list, which is actually really good. I'm getting much better at getting through books on my hopefuls list, and it makes me feel really good because that is something that I wanted to work on. And that is a total of 50 books. And now we're going to slide into the highlights. These are books that really stood out to me, and I just like had a lot of thoughts and wanted to talk to you about them. The first one being Jade War, which is the second book in the Greenbone saga. Nobody is safe. This book really makes it clear that no character is safe. You get attached to these characters and it don't even matter no more. Like, this book had me on my toes the entire time and got me really hyped and really excited to read Jade Legacy, which I'm actually currently in the middle of right now. It has excellent political intrigue, character work, and pacing, and Fonda Lee truly knows what she's doing. And I ended up giving this one, like I said before, 4.5 stars. Next up, we have Blood of the Old Kings by Sung Il Kim and translated by Anton Her. I like the writing style. It feels like an epic tale, but it isn't stuffy and it reads super smoothly. It says a lot about imperialism, self manifestation, as well as the power of hope and community and what we can do with that power. And I'll definitely be continuing with this series. I believe book 2 comes out in either October or November, sometime in the fall. And I gave Blood of the Old Kings 4.25 stars. Next up, we have Losing Sight by Tati Richardson. This has great character work on both protagonists, Tanika and Gideon, lots of depth and introspection, alongside two adults who are learning how to exist in a relationship. And I appreciate the focus on older protagonists in their 40s finding their happily ever after. We don't usually see that celebrated or talked about in mainstream media or mainstream publishing in the romance sphere. There's a little bit of a speculative element, and I thought that added a really cool aspect to the novel, and it worked really well with it. Gideon is unabashedly into Tanika, and we love to see it. Also, Tanika's crew of besties kept her honest and accountable, and I would love to see another book like in this same series following one of her friends and having another like light speculative element, because I really do think that it worked. I also really love seeing two seasoned and established professionals making a choice to prioritize and manage their own love story in a way that worked for them and their careers, and not worrying about what anyone else thought or was doing. And I ended up giving Losing Sight 4.25 stars. Next up, we have 12th Night. This is an excellent retelling of the classic Shakespeare play that breathes new life into the tale. Both fans of Shakespeare and those who have no clue about the original will easily enjoy this. Like, it does not rely too heavily or even heavily at all on people knowing the original 12th Night by Shakespeare. It's punchy, it's feminist, it's nerdy, and I loved the romance, which was hilarious. It explores being a girl slash woman within gaming and firmly places two protagonists of color at the center of gaming and nerd culture, which I absolutely loved. I love the depth of relationships between all of the characters that we got, and we got to see how they gradually build on each other and blossom and flourish. And I ended up giving 12th Night 4.5 stars. Then we have I Think They Might Like Love You by Julian Winters. This is a super cute and funny adult romance. There's a heavy focus on personal development and finding one's own way amidst familial and personal expectations. I love the romance between Dens and the boy that got away, Brayton. And the second chance was done really well. It really was. Enjoyed it. Definitely looking forward to more adult romances from Julian Winters, and I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Then we have House of Marion. This book has a gorgeous map, and the book definitely lives up to the decadence and the gorgeousness of that map. It's a very different and unique magic system, and I appreciated that. I've never seen anything quite like the magic system in House of Marion. The secondary perspective of your grin was limited and it's done well to create suspense, and you begin to kind of piece things together towards the end, but not really. I didn't see several other reveals coming, and I'm excited to see how this story is going to unfold. I do plan on reading the second book next month during the month of May, and yeah, it was great and fun, and I loved it, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. Then we have two honorable mentions, actually. The Color Purple by Alice Walker and The Message. These are two books that I've been wanting to read for a while. And you'd probably be like, these are so different. Why am I lumping them together or like talking about them at the same time? These are two of my standouts, and I will be doing full reflections of them on my blog. So I'm not going to give my full thoughts here. So there's the Bibliophiles Unite Literary newsletter. You can subscribe via the link, so you get it straight to your inbox. That is always linked down below. There's a free version and a paid version. I will most likely put these two behind a paywall because I'm putting a lot of effort and a lot of thought and a lot of planning into both of these. It's going to be two separate posts. And yeah, I'm excited to really dive in and share my thoughts on The Color Purple and The Message. Then we have Hamajang Luck. This was an incredible debut. It's hilarious and fast paced. The heist aspect starts almost right away. I love the group of characters that the MC comes into contact with, and I love the found family element. It really worked for the story and what the author was trying to do. Native Hawaiian culture was beautifully woven into this book, and the sci-fi space colony setting that adds another layer of uniqueness to this story, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else this author writes. And I gave this one 4.5 stars. Next up, we have Bree Boyd is a legend, and this one is a middle grade contemporary with a speculative element. This has an incredible, and this is just like an incredible middle grade that looks at the toxicity that can breed from trying to achieve Black excellence without making room for all types of excellence and expressions of Blackness. Bree is a funny, intelligent, and self-aware protagonist, and I loved the bond between her and her two older sisters and how they pledged to and did always support one another and show up for one another. And I gave Bree Boyd is a Legend 5 stars. Then we have Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang. This takes place in New York, specifically Manhattan, Chinatown, during the COVID lockdown in 2020. It does a great job of encapsulating how the emptiness of the streets and the fear and anxiety felt. And it uses that feeling to further perpetuate the haunting feeling throughout the novel. The first third of the book was a little slow, but when it picks up, it picks up. It does not stop. It highlights the dangerous anti Asian and anti Chinese sentiment and propaganda that was and continues to be spewed. And it doesn't shy away from exploring how the potential and actual acts of violence from anti Asian and anti Chinese rhetoric adds to this immense anxiety, isolation, and despair that Cora feels living as a Chinese American woman in America. And I ended up giving that book 3.75 stars. Then we have Oathbound by Tracy Dion. This is not going to have any spoilers. These are going to be like very quick thoughts because I am planning on doing a full review on my Instagram as well as a full reread of all three books. I'm currently in the middle of that. That will go on the Bibliophiles Unite Literary newsletter. But this book, oh my gosh, this was my favorite book of March, which I feel like surprises absolutely no one. I was less than 60 pages into my first read of Oathbound, and I was reminded that Miss Dion can write. In case I had forgotten, I was reminded so much of Bree's journey is breaking generational curses. And as a Black woman, reading this felt so cathartic. It explores as well what true white allyship versus lip service, what that is. It makes the distinction and what that means and what that looks like. So many threads are woven into the first half that readers are able to see on a collision course towards one another, and it adds so much suspense. You find yourself constantly wanting to get back to the story if you put it down. You find yourself just propelled forward. Like the pacing is excellent in Oathbound. Like I said, I am rereading Legendborn, Bloodmarked, and Oathbound, and I'm planning on doing a full reflection on my blog in the coming months. So definitely make sure you subscribe. And if you couldn't tell, I gave Oathbound 5 stars. Like all the stars in the universe go to this book. But yeah, that is it in terms of my thoughts and what I read during the months of February and March, the books that stood out to me. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and click the notification bell so you're notified every time I put out a new video or go live twice a week for reading sprints. Check out my bonfire, which you can buy some of my merch, including my recently designed I Like Banned Books and I Cannot Lie design. Make sure to check out the Bibliophiles Unite Literary newsletter, which is linked below, as well as the Bibliophiles Unite Discord. And I will see you in another video. Bye.
Weakness showing. I ain't living for the moment. I see what's mine and I want it. Hungry like a Pac-Man. I'm Bruce Wayne and Batman. I'm Naruto with a Hanzo. Got a sharp mind like I'm Einstein. Plus I'm copywriting, so it's all mine. Check it for me. I'm